Congressman Khanna, who is a member of the Select Committee on Strategic Competition between the U.S. and the Chinese Communist Party. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to see you. I so appreciate your time. You actually voted against this bill. Why?
On free speech grounds, on the First Amendment, there are two key principles why the courts would strike this down if the Senate took it up. It's not the least restrictive measure of protecting people's data and privacy. You could pass an Internet Bill of Rights. You could do things like a financial penalty. A ban is extreme, and you have to have the least restrictive means. Secondly, you need, under the Supreme Court, an alternative means of communication, and it is very hard to reach TikTok's almost billion users, particularly international users, for Americans, and I don't think the court would think that there are alternative means of communication here.
You're a member of the House Select Committee on China. What are your concerns about TikTok, or do you have them about TikTok and Chinese government influence over the app?
I do have concerns, which is why I would have been fine with a forced sale. But the ban, if the sale doesn't happen, goes too far. My concerns are protecting Americans' data and privacy and making sure that doesn't get into the hands of the Chinese Communist Party. But we can do that by passing an Internet Bill of Rights. Jose, here's my question. We have not done anything in this Congress for years to protect Americans' privacy. We have not done anything for years to protect kids on social media who are having suicidal thoughts or having eating disorders. How is it that Congress acts in a rush to ban TikTok and can't protect Americans on social media?
So how do you protect kids, and how do you protect the exploitation of social media on vulnerable people?
Well, first, we pass a bill that says your data belongs to you, that these apps, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Facebook, whatever the app is, can't be collecting your data. And secondly, for people under 18, there needs to be regulation in terms of the types of algorithms that are targeting them. Those would be things that would protect Americans and kids from all social media platforms.
Congressman, just a bigger question and a thought. So is it okay, permissible, free speech is free speech for, let's say, the Iranian regime to come up with an app that could be so popular that kids would love it around the world, or North Korea, or ISIS, or the Cuban regime in Havana? I mean, is there anything stopping those groups or anybody else from trying to do this?
Sure. We have restrictions on foreign investment from countries that are like Iran and North Korea. And we had that process here. I mean, when TikTok was initially established, it had to go through the same controls of foreign direct investment. And if there were actually evidence that there was huge propaganda coming out of the platform, then that would be one thing. And then you may be able to restrict it given the First Amendment concerns. But I had 50 TikTok users in my office and creators, and I said, have you seen any propaganda from China? Not one person raised their hand. Now, I have a concern that it shouldn't be controlled by a Chinese entity, and we can force the sale. But we also should not frighten people in ways that doesn't jive with their lived experience on the application.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, my other question would be, like, propaganda, it can be so selective, it can be so sensitive and so hidden that I don't know that a lot of people can see it and say, oh, look, this is an act of propaganda, when there may be other ways that these organizations, regimes, governments have to propagate their propaganda. But, Congressman, I got to tell you, it's always such a treat to be able to speak with you. I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jose.